You're welcome to another true life lesson story. This one might just change everything you think you know about love potions, charm, and desperation. Because sometimes we don't do it out of wickedness. Sometimes it's out of hope, out of fear, out of waiting too long. But this story, it's more than just a tale about using a charm on a man. It's about timing, trust, and learning that what's truly yours might not need any push. Some love stories don't start with fireworks. They start with silence, and hesitation, and long stares that never say enough. That was Tracy and Jude. She met him on a Thursday. The sun was halfway down, Lagos traffic was heavy, and her head throbbed from a long day at work. All she wanted was a seat on the bus. And she found one. Beside him, Jude, well-groomed, soft-spoken, glasses, eyes that flickered between boldness and fear. He shifted when she sat, not rudely, politely, like someone who had been raised right. They didn't speak at first, but then he cleared his throat. "Do you work around Ikoyi?" She turned to him, surprised. "Yeah. You?" "Victoria Island," he replied, smiling. It was a simple exchange, but it stuck. That bus ride changed something. They exchanged numbers before they got down, both pretending it was no big deal. But it was. They started texting. At first it was casual. "How was your day? Did you see the news? What's your favorite food?" Then slowly, it became deeper. They shared songs, memes, inside jokes, and slowly, trust. But there was something about Jude, something frustrating. He never crossed the line. He never said the things that Tracy was sure he felt. You know that feeling? When someone's looking at you like you're the air they breathe, but they never say it out loud? That was Jude. He would call her over. She'd come with her heart in her hands, hoping today would be the day he'd finally say it. But every single time, he changed the topic. Once she went to his house after work. He said he had something important to tell her. She dressed up nicely, hoping, expecting. They sat down. He offered her juice. Then he said, "I found this really nice pizza place. We should check it out." That was it. No confession. Just pizza. She smiled, but her heart cracked a little. He wasn't leading her on. That was the annoying part. He genuinely liked her. She knew it. Everyone around them could see it. But still, silence. It was like waiting for rain in a drought. You can smell it, feel it in the air, but it just doesn't fall. Weeks passed, then months. And Tracy? She started losing patience. Not because she was desperate, but because she was human. So one evening, after another silent disappointment, she did something she never imagined she would. She went to see a herbalist. Yeah, she didn't tell anyone. She just went. She didn't want to harm him. She just wanted him to speak, to say what he had buried in his heart. If he loved her, let him say it. Let it be done. The herbalist was an old woman, wise eyes, calm voice. "You must not use it ahead of the meeting," the woman warned. "Use it on the same morning you'll be seeing him. Only then will it work. And it will cost you." It did, more than she could afford comfortably. But she paid. A week passed, then another, then one Saturday morning. Her phone rang. It was Jude. "Hey," he said, a little nervous. "Can you come over today? I want to see you." Her heart jumped. This was it. She got dressed, took her time, lip gloss, earrings, everything sharp. Then she used the charm, just a drop of the liquid under her tongue, as instructed. No transport fare asked. She was excited, driven by hope. She arrived at his gate and called him. "I'm at your gate," she said, beaming. There was silence on the other end. Then his voice dropped. "Oh no. Tracy, I'm so sorry. My mum came in this morning. I have to drive her to the airport, and I'm flying to Abuja this evening. It totally slipped my mind. Can we see when I get back? So sorry for the stress. I owe you something big for stressing you. Silence. She forced a smile. No problem. Safe trip. She ended the call, and just stood there, outside his gate, in her best outfit, with a charm already in her body. Her chest tightened. Was it all for nothing? She panicked and called the herbalist immediately. The woman laughed softly. No consequence, child. But when next you're ready, you'll need another one. This one is wasted. Wasted. That word rang in her head. She felt foolish, embarrassed, angry. 2 days later, he returned, and he called her again. This time, she went, but not with hope, not with charm, just herself. She sat in his living room. He looked at her nervously, said he'd be back in a second, and walked into his bedroom. She sat there, waiting, wondering what this new game was. Then her phone buzzed, a message from him. Tracy, I've rehearsed this 1,000,000 times. I'm shaking as I type. I love you. I've loved you for a while now. I just didn't know how to say it without losing you. But I'm saying it now. Please don't walk away. She stared at the screen, then looked at the hallway. Another message came in. I know it's stupid that I'm texting you while you're in my house, but I'm scared, and I'd rather be scared than silent again. She didn't reply immediately. She got up, walked to his door, and opened it. He was sitting on his bed, eyes wide, mouth open. You typed all that, instead of saying it to my face. I was afraid you'd laugh, he said quietly. She didn't laugh. She walked in, sat beside him, then whispered, You should have said this months ago. He looked down. I know. Then she smiled. But I'm glad you finally did. That day, love didn't fall from the sky. It crawled, slowly, but it finally arrived. They got married a year later. A quiet wedding, small circle, big love.
And Tracy? She never touched a charm again, because she learned something powerful. You don't need to force what's meant for you. Love, real love, might be slow, shy, or even silent for a while. But if it's true, it will always find a voice. Eventually, the charm never worked, but the heart did. And that's how it all ended. No rituals, no magic, no shortcuts, just a love that took time. A shy man who finally found his voice, and a woman who almost gave up, but didn't. This story isn't just about romance. It's a reminder that rushing what's meant for you might only delay it. If it's real, it won't need force. If it's true, it'll find a way. So before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever waited for someone to say what you already knew they felt? Let's talk. Please don't forget to comment if you felt this story, like the video, subscribe for more powerful real-life lessons and stories, and don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear it.